I'm talking to Piper Butcher, to whom I spoke probably a few months ago now. But she's a wonderful young artist who has an EP out, but also a new single called Read Between the Lines. And therefore, I wanted to talk to her again because it's a great song and I'm sure there'll be more to say. Hello, Piper.
Hello, thank you so much for having me.
It's great to see you again. And I missed you. We passed like ships in the night at the Tamworth Country Music Festival. I heard rumours that you were walking down Peel Street. And I could never
say the same.
But how was your Tamworth?
Yeah, it was absolutely fantastic. Of course, it was different to the usual, but I had such a fantastic time. It was my first time doing a Tamworth Country Music Festival headline show, so that was very, it was great. You know, I was very nervous, but overall it was an amazing experience, and I can't wait to do more stuff like that in the future.
Because it is a big deal to have a headline show at a festival like that when there are so many artists who are playing, and actually not many artists get to have headline shows for people who haven't been to that festival, because there's a lot of competition for venues, especially at this festival because it was shortened, went from 10 days to 7. So there were some artists who did not get their headline shows.
I was so worried. I remember first of all hearing that it was going to be postponed and being devastated for everyone. But, you know, in January, it was going to be my first show and I had so much work towards it. And then to think about how it was going to be condensed into 7 days and, oh my God, am I going to get a show at all? You know, but I was really lucky. I had a beautiful group of people behind me, including Ben from the Nudge Theory group and the entire team at the Wildest Dog, which made a dream a reality.
Oh, what a lovely way to put it. And then Wildest Dog is a great venue because there's an inside stage and then there's a backyard stage, which I think is where you were playing.
Yeah, that's correct.
And people now know they can go there for some quality music. Now, you've been doing some other great gigs, including, as I saw on your TikTok, opening for Felicity Urquhart and Josh Cunningham. How was it playing with them?
That was absolutely amazing. You know, that ended the year really perfectly for me. I did that in December of 2021, and after some big shenanigans of the past couple of years, it was great to end on such a high note and to come into this year without knowing about Tamworth being postponed, but having high hopes. And I was really lucky. I made a connection with Josh and Fliss that night, and I've seen them at the Kayama songwriting retreat. I caught up with Fliss and we had a great chat. It was just great to reconnect. In that video that you saw on my TikTok, that's actually one of the songs that Josh plays with his band, The Waves. And it somehow slipped out of the bag that I play this song live. And he's like, okay, well, show it to me. And I'm like, oh my God, what are you talking about? I cannot do this. But I did it and he thought it was great. And it just really cemented a great connection. I was really fortunate to have that opportunity.
It's a lot of pressure though, isn't it? When you've got the songwriter standing there going, play it for me.
so much, but couldn't back down. No way.
Now, you mentioned that Kayama songwriting retreat, and I also saw on your social media a photo of you with Lynn Botel from that same retreat. So I can't imagine it's a high pressure environment, but it's a little pressure because you have a limited amount of time with some very qualified songwriters. Do you feel like you have to create something, or do you just take it for the experience that it is?
I definitely take it in the most positive manner as a constructive criticism sort of environment. I mean, meeting new people and just trying new things and new ways to songwrite was the main sort of thing for me to get out of that song camp. It was 2 days, as you said, very, very quick. But I caught up with Max Jackson, the star maker for this year. She was beautiful and she stepped in last minute. I had Anthony Snape there. It was great to meet him finally, and he's an amazing songwriter. He literally, I have a video of him on my phone. He just took the words. We did these weird little writing exercises, and I wrote about a door handle, and he used what I wrote about a door handle and wrote a song in 30 seconds. And I was just amazed. So it was great to see him in action, as well as Lynn and Fliss, as we said earlier. And to be able to meet people that have different styles and different ways of writing, and in that short amount of time, try and find some sort of magic, whether it works or if it doesn't, and to present that to a crowd that is really supportive. It was overall a fantastic experience.
It's interesting what you said about constructive criticism, because it can be really hard to have people critique your work, especially in front of you. And some people might think, oh, that's it. I'm just going to write on my own and never talk to anyone. I suppose sorry.
It does sting a little bit when you hear that, because you've worked so hard on this little baby of work, whether it's a song or a poem or anything that you're creating, and if someone suggests a change, you might be hesitant at first, and usually I'm like, I put that in for a reason. But I take it into consideration, and you do take everything with a grain of salt, so everybody's opinions are really valid, and especially in songwriting, because there's no one way to do it. So it was really great to learn to be really open-minded in that constructive sort of environment. Definitely.
Do you think it ever gets easier, or you not that your skin gets thicker, but you just sort of, maybe the reaction time's a little faster, as in you don't dwell on the criticism as long?
Yeah, I think so. I think the more that you get used to hearing it, the more you realize it's to help and not to drag you down. And that's a big thing with the music industry in general. Everybody helps each other, and that's really important to think about. Nothing is ever a competition. It shouldn't be, unless you're in a talent quest or anything like that. But nothing is really a competition, and something like that, while some people may hide into a little box and think, oh my God, my song's not good enough, these are industry professionals. They're here and they're taking time out of the day to help with your own career and your own songwriting. And it's always great to have that mindset that they're here to help. They always will be. No one's here to drag anyone down, and keep that strong in your brain, and just go with the flow.
I suppose as a performing artist as well, you have to develop a bit of a thick skin, because you have an audience in front of you that may decide to pull out their phone and while you're still singing, or talk, which is part of it, which, if you've got an audience that's talking a lot, that can really mess with the sound you're hearing and your foldback and everything. Yeah. But I suppose it's also, it's just the commitment you make as an artist, that you're going to put your work out there, and you have to believe in it enough to be able to withstand anything that comes back like that.
100%. And a great example of that crowd criticism, a couple of weeks ago, I opened for Robin Ford. He's an amazing guitarist from the USA, and I was doing his Sydney show at the Factory Theatre. My first time there. Great environment, great crowd, all musos. So I was very nervous playing to a crowd of musos, but I went up to the merch desk afterward, and there were so many beautiful people coming up and complimenting the set and talking about how great it is to see Robin back out in Australia. And I had one man, he came up and he said, your mic was a bit thin. And I was thinking, like, I tried to take it in the most positive way. Like, he wasn't criticizing my voice or anything like that. It was about the microphone. So I just tried to keep myself level-headed and think, okay, yeah, thank you for telling me that. I'll relay that on for my other performances. And I was really appreciative. He obviously took the time to watch my set and know the pros and cons of it, which is great. He listened. That's all that I want. So it was hard to just keep my tongue and everything in check, but just little things like that, like you said, a thick skin.
Of course, you could have taken that feedback to the sound desk while you were playing, but
yeah. No.
But speaking of opening for people, when we first spoke, you had been going to open for UMI, and that gig was postponed for the lockdown light reasons, but that is now going to happen again. Not happen again, but actually happen this time.
Actually happening. Oh my God, fingers crossed it doesn't happen again. Goodness. That's 7th of July here at the Cambridge Hotel in Newcastle, and unfortunately the Cambridge Hotel is actually shutting down. And so it's really, really exciting that I do get to play here. This is going to be my second time playing at the Cambridge Hotel. I opened for a friend's single launch a while ago, and this is definitely pretty next level, and I'm really excited about that. As well as myself and my band, there's going to be a band called Imaginary Things opening, and it's going to be a great night. I've heard the band is crazy and I get to witness that in person.
Piper, I actually used to see you at my play right at the start of their career in Sydney pubs. So I remember standing in very small audiences, and they were always a fantastically entertaining act, which is why they've done so well. So I'm sure you will find them fantastically entertaining too. You've been up to other things as well over the past few weeks, including spending some time with Casey Chambers at her Rabbit Hole recording studios. Was that a songwriting or recording or both exercise?
It was wonderful, just a one-day workshop, and Casey fully explained the way about how she I could say grew up in the industry, because Bill, her father, has been so current since she was yay high. And so she's definitely grown up in that, and finding her own way, and finding the authenticity and originality of her music, and how she's come to cross genres and find that path that is so vividly hers. And we didn't songwrite with her, but we did listen to her sing a couple of songs, and in that raw environment, they spoke to me more than ever. I started playing Casey songs again for the first time in about 2 years, because I saw her and I was talking to her, and it sparked something in me. And I met a couple of people down there that were meant to do the academy, the senior academy course, and that was all in the postponement and everything. So it was great to connect with those people that didn't have that opportunity. And we all got down there, and we went into her little studio, and we got taught about different levels of things and recording, and what to do, what not to do, and all of those things. And in that one day, I just got so much information, and we all sat around a campfire at the end, and had some food and sang some songs, and it was a very, very heartwarming environment.
Fantastic. Well, it sounds like you have been keeping yourself busy, and what's also busy is, well, not busy as in too busy, because it sounds pejorative sometimes when people say that, but you have released your new single, Read Between the Lines. So what was the inspiration behind this song?
This is one of my favorite stories to ever talk about, the story behind this song. I say it just about every gig, and it's always great to see the audience reaction. But
I can't wait to hear it.
Hopefully it's a good story now that I've just talked it up. But last year I had a surgery in January. I was born with a cleft palate, so I had no room for my mouth, and I had a couple of surgeries when I was younger. I just fixed something up. Had 2 months off singing, and didn't come back until the 10th of March. And I can say to you, on the 10th of March, that was my date to be able to sing, and I did a gig on that night. I was so excited to be back. But during that time, I wasn't allowed to sing. I wasn't allowed to do anything. And mentally, I was in a really messed up place, because music is my life, and it has been. It's this year, on the 1st of June, it was 6 years since my first public performance. So it's been my life for 6 years. And to have that time off, just after COVID's come to such a big head and stuff, I had a couple of friends that were checking on me throughout that time. And I had especially one guy friend. I've never met him in person, but we have mutual friends, and he was really kind and just checking up on me a little bit more than everybody else. And I was like, wow, this is really kind, what a good friend does. And I did not know that he was thinking along the lines of other sorts of relationships, and he wanted to pursue something further. And I said, no way, Jose, I'm so not into that. My goodness, get out of here. And so I wrote a song about it to just help him understand, because he just would not give up. He was smitten, and I'm very flattered by that, but at the same time, I had my eye on someone else the whole time. So nothing else mattered to me. And so he was fully into it, and I was like, oh, here's a song. He doesn't know it's about him, but I've just released this song, and it's so good to get it off my chest that there's this guy, I'm so not into him. Ugh, get it away. And I did it in a nice way. I obviously wasn't that straightforward and rude to him. I said, I'm sorry, I don't feel that way, did the whole spiel. We sometimes talk now, but it's definitely less.
Right. Well, look, at the very least, it provided inspiration for a song, and that is part of the beauty of being a creator, is that you can find these channels for things that happen in life.
Definitely. Yeah. It was pretty fun. I during that time I was, taking some heavier medication after coming out of surgery, and I wrote one of those songs at about 3:30 in the morning because this medication was keeping me up at night.
Right.
And I was just about finished it and I was like, yeah, I love this song. I'm feeling it, I'm in the moment. And then my mum just runs through the door. What are you doing up at 3:30 in the morning? And I'm like, I can't sleep. I'm sorry, I'm singing a song. So I hummed a little bit here and there during my time when I wasn't supposed to, but it was all worth it.
And your voice is more than fine now, so obviously you didn't damage it. Now, to record this song, you worked with Matt Fell, and I believe it's the first time you'd actually worked with Matt. How did that go?
That was absolutely amazing. I have so much gratitude to him for coming up all the way from Tasmania. We had 2 nights in the studio, and on the 3rd night we were considering staying, but he wanted to get home, and it's such a long trip home. We tried to get him out of there as soon as possible, but we were there until close to midnight doing tracks for these songs. And his dedication, I'm amazed by it, and the respect that I have for him is next level. He fully took into consideration my decisions, and he also added something that a little spark of magic, I guess, to the package, and it's something that's very, very warmly welcomed. And as I said before, we were talking about constructive criticism and being open-minded to new things like that, and it was really wonderful to hear his take on the song and to try some new things with it.
Of course, if you want to work with him again, you may have to go to Tasmania this time.
Gosh, got to get the flight points out. What are they called? The Virgin points.
Yeah. Now you're as I said, a young artist, and you have achieved a lot in your career already. And I don't mean this at all badly, but your lyrics and the way you sing actually sound like they come from someone older. And I don't like to make a thing of age, except that I think there is something remarkable about an artist who hasn't lived, 60 years, but who can write and sing from a place that suggests that they have understanding of what it is like to be alive for quite a while. So I'm wondering, when you're writing songs, is that a conscious thing for you, or are you just someone who observes the world around you and tends to draw on what you see and what you hear and the experiences of others that you've observed?
I've always been a people watcher. Since I was a tiny toddler in the pram, I would stare with these big eyes around, and what everyone else is doing, I would always observe. And as I've grown, I've come to learn to be a big listener in, my friends and family's lives. And I'm really, really conscious of that, and being that person that, is open to helping other people during tough times and things like that. Sometimes I take it on too much, and then I get all screwed up in my head. So there's always time for myself, and I've learnt that. But hearing other people and their struggles, and I've had a lot of loss, and I've been really fortunate to have a beautiful parents that are supporting me, and to have the upside of that, as well as learning all of these rough patches of grief and loss, as we said. I mean, it's a lot to take on, but with such a great network around me, I've been fortunate to be able to put all of that into songwriting and try to make those songs as universal as possible. I really aim to not have such a target audience, but just for my songs to connect with anything or anyone.
Has it been the case that songwriting in particular has helped you manage grief, or do you think it's everything you do as a musician, that ability to get on stage and unleash to a certain extent, or get into a studio and sing? Does all of that help?
Definitely everything as a package. This whole career is really great as a whole. I'm really lucky to be doing what I'm doing. But in terms of songwriting, especially, trying to find that emotion without, digging too deep into my past, there's some things that should be left untouched and things that I can draw on. And to have that maturity to be able to go back is something that I really strive for.
Mhm.
and to know the good parts and the bad parts, and that everybody has a yin and yang. That's why the world goes around like that. To be able to draw on those experiences, as well as being able to just get all of my emotion out on stage, it's really great. I did a couple of band gigs this year, and I've recently written a song, about a boy from my past. Gosh, boys suck sometimes. But I wrote a song about him, and I played it live, and I nearly cried on stage because I was just so in the moment, and it was a great feeling. It was a great cry. It wasn't a sad cry, but it was just a release of emotion, and I'm so glad that I got it out there. And for me to have the opportunity to do that and to see people correlate with my feeling and my raw emotion is something that I want to be doing forever.
I guess that also partly answers the next question I was going to ask you, but I'm going to ask it anyway, which is because I'm listening to the new song in particular, and I did observe this on the EP, but I was listening to Read Between the Lines and thought, your voice sounds like it's coming from a subterranean pool. Like there's just this kind of depth to it that feels like you're drawing it up from somewhere, like someplace in your body or someplace in the ether, I don't know. And I guess you're drawing it up from the subterranean pool of emotion. But does it feel, because the voice is a mysterious thing, and I wonder if partly your experiences with not being able to use your voice because of surgeries, for example, has meant that you've either put some time into considering how you use that instrument, or that you value it so much that you just go to draw on as much as you can?
Yeah, it's a bit of everything, to be honest. And especially with that time off, I actually had to retrain myself, and I've found that I have a lot more range with my voice now, and I'm learning to use it better than before, and trying new things out. And if it works, if it doesn't, whatever happens. But especially in the studio with this song, I distinctly remember I was feeling, big emotions, as you can hear in the song, hopefully. But just before I would sing a line, I would jump up and down in front of the mic and get my body and my heart racing. I would literally do this. I would be ready to go for the chorus, and I go, okay, Matt, let's do this, in the other room. And he'd click the track, and I'd jump up and down, and then I'd sing the line, and it had all of this fierce angst to it because I was also running out of breath from jumping, but as well as channeling that emotion. It was something really weird that I've never done before, but I just felt like I needed that sort of feeling.
Yeah. Well, it was very effective. So now, sleuthing your social media, I also spied a little video that revealed how many guitars you have, and kind of like a whoops, don't tell anyone moment of how many guitars. I'm wondering if you still play the first guitar you ever had.
Yeah, I do. Sometimes I check it out, and I think to myself, wow, it's really cool that I started from that. I actually lent one of my first ever guitars to my cousin, and I teach him to play sometimes. But he's 30 and he has a life of his own, so I don't get to see him that much. But anytime, we double check on some chords, and it's great to be able to pass anything on to anyone else. But the first guitar that I ever played, and you can see it in that video, you can see both of them, the pink ukulele up the back, that was my first ever little type of guitar. And I played just the one string, and I thought that I had it covered. Rockstar, got this in the bag. And then I went to my dad's guitar, and oh gosh, yeah, there's actually a video of me cleaning that guitar and fixing it up a little bit on my TikTok. It was in a bad condition, and there's lots more work to do on it, but it's in playing condition now.
Right.
And he's had that since he was younger than me when he first got that. And I learned my first chords on that, and then $100 guitar came my way. Thank you, JB Hi-Fi, and I was on my way.
Because that's another part of your life as a musician, is you are a ripping guitar player, and so you obviously enjoy expressing yourself through the instrument, instrument as well as the instrument of your voice.
Yeah, I hold that very highly. I take into consideration everybody's musicianship, and I think that's just as important as singing, if not more. That carries the song. Without great instruments, where would a voice be? And, vice versa. It really depends on the song, but I absolutely love playing my guitars. And as you know, my collection is growing a little bit out of hand. But I'm ready to take that next step, and I'm really looking forward to doing the shows where I can do, my own lead work on the guitars and taking that step into being, I guess you could say, someone like Keith Urban. That would be really cool. I'm aiming to be his best friend by the time I'm 30, so I'll update you then. But
Okay.
hopefully, by that point, he'll give me some words of advice, and we'll see how we go.
Well, I'll put this clip on social media and tag him. Who knows?
Please, come on, Keith.
Well, in terms of carrying the song, I'm sure some people who play in rhythm sections would say that they carry songs, but that's a conversation for another time. Now that gigs are happening again, and hopefully you get to play more because things have opened up. Do you find it hard to get the time to write songs, or do you set aside time?
I do have a bit of a schedule that I do. And so, whilst I'm doing emails and other business, things, I guess you could say, and preparing for gigs and rehearsing, I do hold time aside for finishing off old ideas or doing songwriting exercises. But I never, ever force a song to physically, be written, because that comes from a place of inspiration. And when it happens, it happens. And when it doesn't, you can't force it. It's not going to be a good song. If there's a prompt or anything, I love to challenge myself with something like that. Mm-hmm. And I was in a project, a place down in Sydney. It was called the Talent Development Project. I'm getting my words mixed up. But it was a really great program where they gave us writing prompts and different things like that to write songs from, whether it was a 1-minute song or something with this word in it or this phrase. And it was really great to learn something like that. And I take that into my own writing now and my own little schedule and do things here and there, definitely. Well,
it sounds like you're well sorted for fitting that in around the activities that are coming up. The new song is called Read Between the Lines, Piper, as ever. Lovely to speak to you.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thanks.